Hello and welcome back. Today let's look at how to talk about actions completed in the past. Before we move into the lesson, make sure you subscribe to keep getting our videos regularly so that you keep learning. Let's start. First, let's look at some examples that talk about actions completed in the past. The first one, I spoke to Ron yesterday. The second one, Emma went to the market this morning. Third one, Priya lived in Boston for 10 years. And the fourth sentence, we received the mail today. We can see that in all these four sentences, the action happened in the past, that is, at some point before now, and we usually know when it happened. So there is always a time reference in the simple past. It's either directly mentioned or it's understood. Let's look at the form of these sentences. In all the sentences, first you have the subject, and after the subject you have verb to, which is verb in the past tense. In the first sentence, your subject is I, and your verb is spoke, which is the past tense of speak. In the second sentence, the subject is Emma and the verb is went, which is the past tense of go. In the third one, the subject is Priya and the verb is lived, which is the past tense of live. And in the fourth one, we is the subject and received is your verb. So in all these sentences, you have subject plus verb to, and that's the form of the simple past. Now, verb to or the past form is formed by adding d or ed to the verb. And these verbs are called regular verbs. Most verbs are regular verbs, but then there are some verbs called irregular verbs, where the past form is different from the present form. For example, the word go. The present form is go and the past form is went. So these kind of verbs are called irregular verbs and you just have to learn them or memorize them. But don't worry, the link to my video lesson on irregular verbs is given in the description below. Please watch the lesson and learn irregular verbs. Now let's look at some common errors that we see in the simple past tense. Very often we come across sentences like, I was spoke to Ron, or we were received the mail today. What's wrong in these sentences? Please remember, you just cannot use was or were along with the verb to in the simple past. Then you might ask me, where do we use was or were? Now let us look at these examples. Vivek was upset yesterday. We were excited about the new project. You can see that in these two sentences, there is no action. We are just linking the subject to some information about the subject. We are talking about the state of the subject. So in the first sentence, we are linking the subject Vivek to the word upset, that is a state. In the second sentence, we are linking the subject we to the verb excited because that is a state. So when there are no action verbs in the sentence and we're talking about the state of the subject, we can use was or were. Hope that's clear to you. Now let's look at how to make negative sentences. To make negative sentences, you just have to place did not before the main verb. And did not is contracted as didn't. So let's look at this example. I spoke to Ron yesterday. Now you place didn't before the main verb. And then the main verb changes from verb to verb one. So the sentence is, I didn't speak to Ron yesterday. In the next example, we received the mail today. Again, we placed didn't before the main verb and received changes to receive, which is verb 1. So the negative sentence is, we didn't receive the mail today. And now let's look at how to make questions. To make questions, you just place did before the subject. And if you want to add a WH word, you just place it before did. For example, Ben bought a new car last month. To make a question, place did before the subject. Did Ben buy? Bought changes to buy. Did Ben buy a new car last month? Or why did Ben buy a new car last month? So this is how you make your questions. Just add did before the subject and change verb to verb 1. Now let's try this exercise. Please try to correct these sentences. You can pause the video and try to correct them. So now let's look at the correct sentences. Let's look at the first sentence. The bird flied away. In this sentence, flied is not the past tense of fly. The past tense is flew. So the correct sentence is the bird flew away. In the second sentence, Sharon didn't call me last night. We have learned that when we use didn't in the sentence, the verb changes from the past form to the present form. So the correct sentence is Sharon didn't call me last night. In the third sentence, did you invited the new student to the party? Again, we have learned that when we use did in the sentence, the verb changes from the past form to the present form. So the correct sentence is, did you invite the new student to the party? In the fourth sentence, the manager was conducted a training session. Conducted is an action verb. And we have learnt that we don't use was or were along with an action verb in the past tense. So the correct statement is, the manager conducted a training session. And the last sentence, the children will eat well. The past tense of eat is ate, and that is an action verb. So we don't use was or were along with that. So the correct sentence is, the children ate well. I hope you enjoyed the video. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And remember, if I can do it, so can you. Wishing you all the very best.